keep. See, I said that without moving my lips. Right, then there'll be a few waifs and strays come in, I'm sure, as we begin. But tonight we are covering, in this month's coaching session, we are covering letting go. Now, there's similar traits to what would have been discussed in the Lost Challenge if you were in that. However, it is good to hear some of these components, these elements again, always, always, always. So it is about letting go. You know I am a spiritual coach. You know I'm going to coach from a spiritual perspective, therefore, and you wouldn't be here if you didn't have that vibe going on as well. So letting go and learning to let go of a relationship or something else in your past, or something that is just what we class as an unimportant distraction, or of trying to control things that you cannot control. These are all the things that this is about letting go of. Yeah, because we actually hold on to all of those things in order to feel in control in some backwards kind of way. All right, so it is these are the things that take a huge amount of energy out of our lives. People who are holding on for dear life and come to see me to something, are exhausted, because it's hard work treading water. It is easier and less energy and less emotion, believe it or not, to take the step forwards than to try to stand still in the moment that it is that you are white knuckling to. So it takes a lot of energy out of you, and a lot of time, and and it's time that could be better spent. So that is why I wanted to host this tonight, just to prompt you to understand the importance, if you like, of letting go. Because when we are refusing to let go, we are literally only holding ourselves back. So what I want you to do straight away is, and I'm not going to ask you to share your stuff tonight, but just straight away, write in your notebooks, whatever, the first thing that comes to mind to you that you need to let go of. No matter how small it may be or how massive it may be, I want you to put a thought, put that thought in and just allow yourself to show yourself, breathe it up and know that's what needs to be let go of. It could be a fear, an old relationship, a situation that went on, something that you felt rejected in. Yeah, just write something down, because I want you to be thinking in the perspective of a situation, because then it's easier to process the coaching. All right. So why is it hard to let go? Well, it's hard to let go because there must be an advantage somewhere to you not letting go. Whether you recognize it or not, there is a payoff. Human nature is we don't do things unless there is a payoff. What's in it for me? Yeah. So even though you may not consciously think and speak like that, something in you, which comes under the heading of the ego, will be holding on, unwilling to let go, because some way, somehow, there is a payoff. And that is what is absolutely key. All right. So if, for example, and I see this all the time, it is an old relationship. Yeah. And the other person is in the wrong in your mind. Yeah. We will constantly find ourselves rethinking and analyzing the ins and outs of a duck's arse of that relationship, because they are wrong and we are right. Yeah. Now, that could be intimate romantic, as I call it these days. It could be a friendship. It could be a business association. It could be any connection. Yeah. But when we find ourselves constantly analyzing it because they're so in the wrong and I'm so right, we do that as a deflection exercise, because what we're really doing is we're taking the attention off ourselves and putting it onto them, because our ego doesn't want us to admit that we got that wrong. Yeah, we misjudged the person, or we didn't pay attention to the red flags, or, you know, and we continued to be in the relationship for 10 years or whatever, 10 months, 10 years, 10 days, whatever, when we really shouldn't have gone there. And deep down we know it. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to it and process, constantly point the finger at the other person instead of admitting we made a mistake, because God help us if we admit to the world that we've got something wrong. Can you see that? Sarah, can you see that? I've got two Sarahs. This is going to be interesting. I have two
confusing myself then.
So that is about admittance. You know, admittance, we got it wrong. And that's the ego holding us back. So what we do is, because we have to admit that we got it wrong in order to let go, we refuse to let go because we refuse to accept that we could possibly have got that wrong. Yeah, that's what it is. Because of course, then that unravels. So if, for example, like with Sarah was in a relationship for a long time that she probably should have left a long time sooner. Agree, Sarah? Yeah. And I'm sure there's you, Sarah? Yeah, Sarah A? Yeah. There were red flags. Yeah. Yvonne I could have pointed the finger at Yvonne then as well. Yeah. We've all been there. It's human nature. This is the thing. But what we have to understand is that we are choosing to not let go. And that not letting go becomes a form of self-torture. And then we use it as a defense mechanism or as a boundary, as a cushion. We think we're self-protecting. I ain't bloody going there again. I'm done with men and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we do all of that. Yeah, and it stems from not wanting to look at the situation. Yeah. Not truly looking at the situation, taking rose-tinted glasses off. You know, for some, it may be having to admit to ourselves we spent the last 2 years or 10 years, 2 months, 2 days, whatever, with an absolute control freak or da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and what the hell, what were you thinking? You know, my clients, if you've been around me for long enough, you probably have heard me say, I walk down my ex's drive and say to myself, well, I used to, I don't anymore, was I fucking drunk for 4 years? What the fuck? Yeah. You know, hands up, I'll admit it. Yeah. I literally think, what the fuck? Yeah.
I'm laughing my head off, Sam, because this is just so true, isn't it?
Yeah.
In past relationships.
Take the piss out of it, because we all do it. You know, we all do it. So I want to say it's an offensive term, but so get over yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because we all do it. Get over yourself and your life will get easier. You know, and no matter how freaking psychic you are, I'm telling you now, honey, doesn't matter how psychic you are, you still fucking do it. Yeah. All right, that human need for connection sometimes overrides everything.
Do you think it's also sometimes that we like to think the best of people?
100%. 100%, because God, that would make us a bitch, wouldn't it, if we didn't? Yeah. So sometimes we hold on to old relationships, for example, because if we don't let go of that thought process, then we get to remain in the position of feeling that we are right, we were in the right. Hi, Sarah, that we were in the right. Make sense? So that can be one payoff. Because there has to be a payoff somewhere. It can be really subtle, don't get me wrong. It can be really, really subtle, but there has to be a payoff somewhere. The other one is that we can then take on the victim role. Now, I work with a lot of this in the nature of the work that I do, all right? And it's something that we slide into. And it's very easy to slide into and not even realize we've gone there. So this can happen after something very nasty, you know, and whether it's a nasty split or a death or being screwed over at work or burgled or I don't know, all sorts of what we'd call more of an attack energy feel to the experience coming in. Yeah. And what happens is on the subconscious, before you shout me down, our mental state recognizes that actually this situation, as bad as or as hard as it is actually getting us something that's been lacking prior to it. Attention, or it could be support, or it could be comfort from other people. Yeah. Conversations, because people are talking to you because, you know, yeah, and we weren't getting it or to the level something in us wanted or needed before the event took place. Yeah. So I recently ran the Let and Go, and there's a girl in there who's holding on to a death. It's become a badge. Yeah. Because everyone rallies round her. Still. Yeah. Poor, I can't remember what her name was, to be honest, off the top of my head. Poor Tina, let's call it that. Yeah. Everyone rallies around. So suddenly she feels subconscious, she feels important. Prior to this, she wasn't feeling important. Does that make sense? Can you see that resonating, or you can understand that? Yeah, with situations. And then the other one is that you basically don't have to go out into the scary unknown. So you use it as a cushion, an excuse, and a justification for, quite frankly, doing fuck all. Yeah? Can you see that? Yeah? Because we cling on to what is familiar, what is safe. Yeah? Rather than risk the unknown. That is human nature. That is something you have to consciously challenge, because we are not wired for change. I love change. I got to a point where I actually love changing. With, you know, I wish I'd stop bringing in change sometimes, because I have a change addiction. Do you know what I mean? But it's like we cling to what is familiar because we feel safe. Yeah, so that could be if you have been in a job for donkey's years, even though you knew you should get out 5 years ago, and you ask yourself, why are you there? It's because it's familiar and it's safe. There's no risk. The same goes on in relationships. I have women, I only say it because I genuinely haven't worked with a man in it. women who come to me, have been in relationships for 20, 30 years. Yeah, who have got, who, it sounds shocking, doesn't it? Who have got to a stage where they come for a reading because they're so rutted into that and can't leave. In their minds, they can't leave. That they come to me questioning whether they do need to leave, or will he actually just die in the next few years? Honestly, I read for a lot of little old ladies, and I'll be recoiling about this. I read for a lot of little old ladies, you know, who want to know how much longer they've got to. Or is the bugger going to live for another 20 years? So actually, they really do need to get out. Honest God, if you want to see life, you've got to work as a reader. Hi, Karen. Yeah. Honestly. So, you know, it's that energy of staying in what is familiar and what feels safe is applicable across everything. I mean, God, you even get people with like it about food, don't you? Won't try foods. That's okay, Karen. You know, they won't try foods because they just stay safe with what they know. And that is how you live a small life. Yeah? Can you see that? That is how you live a small life. And when you are in that position, especially with the first scenario I talked about, where you're in you've come out of a relationship and you're in that energy of analyzing the hell out of it for the next 3 years. Yeah. It's, you know, that is negative. You're constantly reliving negative. You're constantly putting yourself back in it. Yeah. Even if it fire you up to be defensive, you're constantly re-engaging with that energy. So that energy, no matter what you think, that translates into resentment and bitterness and anger and hate and hurt, and most importantly, lack. Because if you are looking over and over a relationship or a situation, looking at the shit of it, the wrong of it, what went wrong, what was missing, if you're analysing the ins and outs of a duck's arse, I'm telling you now, you're not looking at the positive. You're not. And if you do it for 2 seconds at the end. Oh, but we did have good times. Right, what do I need to do? Yeah? You spent 98% of that time in the negative bubble. And what you are doing is focusing on lack. If you want abundance, the good stuff in your life, you have to change your gauge. You have to change what you are looking at. You have to change the vision. If your focus is on the lack, you cannot create abundance. You might create it for 5-10 minutes or a week or whatever, but it will go because your attention and energy is focused in lack. Does that make sense? Yeah, or do I need to explain a little bit more? Yeah, you can't do it. You can't be sat processing the ins and outs of a duck's arse of why Nigel the knob was a knob. Yeah, and expect to be in a positive. Can't happen. What you're more likely to be doing is actually manifesting Nigel the knob Mark II. Yeah. And you see that in people. I'm sure you've all got or had a girlfriend at some point who dates the same, you know what I mean? You know, again, part of life switch pattern that we do. So it's really important to be very careful about that. Yeah? Are you having some light bulbs? Are you clicking? Resonating? Let me know. Drop me a comment in the chat. Let me open up the chat if you are. All right. So it's about letting go of what is familiar. And the reason why if you are still struggling in your mind about what happened within a memory, because that's what you're doing, yeah? You are struggling in your mind with a memory. And if you, and what happened in it, and what happens with that, we're giving that energy. And you know what? We actually always, almost always blow it up to be something bigger than it was. Because we're giving it our energy, our time, our attention, so it must become big and powerful in your existence and in your mindset. So actually, something small, because you've festered on it, as I call it, can become this big thing. And it's like, yeah. Because you've given it all that energy, all that time, and now it's dominating. So do you remember how if you sat in the Lost Challenge, and if you didn't, one of the things I said in the Lost Challenge at the very beginning was, if you are feeling lost, I guarantee you it is because you have allowed people or situations to dominate your life. Yeah? It's taken over. Now, it doesn't just have to be physically. We're not talking letting go. We're usually talking about past stuff, in all honesty. Yeah, it can be present, but on the whole, it's when we come to the point of wanting to let go of something, it's something in the past. So this is dominating here in your now, but here and here is just not here. Like, for example, like the mums in the Lost who had young kids and doing everything and da 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 da. Yeah, that was very physical life lost. But even if you've not got all that going on, you could be living alone. And I'll say, no, but you're still in that energy, you're still in that vibration, you're still in that mindset, because it's just your world, that world is going on in here, because it's there. All right. So how do we shift it? We have to let go. How? By accepting that it happened. As we say, shit happens. Shit happens, doesn't it? It's no biggie. Yeah? So instead, what we have to do with that experience, so here's your homework. Instead of trying to push it away, yeah, we have to embrace it. We have to walk through it, feel it, take the admittance, take the hit, because no one's looking, because then we disempower it. Because if we do that, it becomes less powerful in our psyche, in our mindset. It no longer has a hold on us because we've taken hold of it. Now, I'm not saying that you go on eBay and you order one of them placards for walking around the street and saying, yes, I'm the idiot that stayed with Nigel the knob for 3 years longer than I should have done. Yeah? Makes sense? Do you like my coaching sound? Can you tell what energy I'm in today?
Yeah.
All day. I've literally coached all day. As I progress, if you like this style of coaching, you've got to book in with me towards the end of the day, because I'm just like, just fuck it. But you know, I'm not saying do that, but it's like admit it to yourself, and then recognize that actually that's okay. That's okay. All right. It's like, you know, because we blow things up and we obsessively think, and then we kind of like file that then. And we don't feel as upset about it. Yeah? So step one is to identify what we're not letting go of. Yeah. Step two, and part of step one is to identify the payoff, because you might be a little bit shocked about your own behavior. Like, oh shit, yeah. But that's good, that's empowering. That's all I intend to do today, is empower you with self-control, self-awareness, yeah? Step two is to go there. I don't mean to get in the car and drive and visit Nigel the Knob. I mean, someone books in with me called Nigel the Knob. I'm sending you all a screenshot, I'm telling you. And then, see, and this is without alcohol. I tell you, I don't need alcohol. I don't need alcohol. I'm just high on energy. But you know what it is, we need to accept that reality. Accept we went through it, so it becomes less powerful, and your upset over it will begin to fade. Ignore the dickhead. Ignore the dickhead. Now, if it's someone you can't get rid of, as in your contact, say, for example, father of kids, yeah, know that you are in charge of your emotion state and how much you allow that person to impact you. You are choosing it. When he has walked away after opening his mouth and saying a trigger, because he's been trained to know what to trigger you with, you are choosing whether to react or not. It's self-awareness of triggers and then self-discipline to maintain and train yourself first to not give him the satisfaction of the response he pressed the trigger for. Does that make sense? You're choosing your reaction. Yeah, I teach teenagers to pause. Pause. You should never, ever react in the moment. Now, bear in mind, I am a redhead, so I've got about 20 years ahead of crashing that one on you. Yeah, I've done 20 years of, yeah. That's not self-control, that's being completely controlled and manipulated. So it is an art, as in it's something you have to master. Breathe is my first thing. Breathe, let the oxygen hit your brain so that the cells in your brain speak to each other before you engage the mouth. Yeah, it is a technique. Pause. Yeah, I have to tell teenagers to do it before they punch a hole in the wall. You know, because you are choosing the response that you have. And if you keep displaying that response, someone like that will get pleasure out of pressing the triggers. So I call it changing how you play the game. Change the game. And the only way you change the game, whether it is with your screaming 3-year-old on the floor or the 54-year-old walking down your driveway having dropped kids off or whatever, is to change how you react. Yeah. So he doesn't see any response. All right. But it's about not bringing the past stuff into the present moment that you are in. Yeah. It's not about what happened back 2 years ago, 3 years. It's just about this moment. And right now, yeah, Nigel's a knob. We'll give him that. Bye. Shut the door. Yeah. Then when the kids aren't looking, into the back of the door. Yeah. Very spiritual coaching there. Yeah. Because then you will go, but there's no karmic trail on that. Yeah. there's no karmic trail. All right. That's my tip today on handling that kind of thing where you're going to continually still be in replays of it. But as I say, it's about instead of pushing it away and not going there, especially if it's something around rejection. Yeah, it's, you know, it can only become less powerful when we give it less power by taking our power back out of it. And that is by being honest. And then that may hurt. You may have to feel emotion in order to do that. Yeah. You may want to try the humor technique where you then kind of take the piss out yourself, though I don't really encourage that. But at the same time, you have to laugh about it. You know, we sometimes have a situation where if I don't laugh, I'll cry. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that either. Find the humor in something. You'd be amazed how much it will disempower it. Yeah. You know, like we say, oh, this would be funny if this wasn't happening to me. Yeah. So imagine it's not happening to you. But so you may have emotion on that. You may, you know, you may have some upset, but don't worry about that because that's release and that is healing that the energy and the emotion that's attached to that experience. Yeah. So if that comes up, allow yourself to go there. It's temporary. You're not falling apart. It's just things are falling away that you don't need to carry. And then you need to do it to move on with your life. That's what you're choosing. You're choosing to move on with your life. So you're going to accept this, you're going to face it, you're going to feel it, and then you are going to forgive yourself. Yeah? Because you can choose to let go of what happened rather than let it interfere in future relationships or future similar playouts and scenarios. Yeah. So first, as I say, accepting what happened makes it so much easier to forgive. It really, really does. Okay. Because then what you can do is then get on with something else. You're letting go by forgiving yourself for playing your part in the experience. You can't change it. Reliving it over and over, no matter how many times you go back and look at the dead body on the floor, there's still a dead body on the floor. It ain't changing. Yeah? No matter how much we understand why or how that body on that floor got there, how that person died and got there, doesn't matter how much understanding you have, it ain't going to breathe new life into that body. Yeah, let it go. Put the police tape around it and let it go. Because you cannot control the past. And if you are obsessively, as it were, thinking about past situations that you can't let go of, it is to do with control. Because when your mind is there, going over and over in an arse about face way, you somehow kind of feel in control. Because you're in the safety net of the past experience, like we talked about. Yeah, you're in the past. It's safer there. You know where you're at. Even if you don't like it, you know where you're at. So it's kind of comfortable because it's kind of predictive. You know what's coming. Yeah, that's why people stay in domestic violence. Because they feel in control because they can predict the behavior. Whereas they have no clue what it would be like to be without the person. Can you see that? Yeah. So instead, what you then do, because you're recognizing that that doesn't help and you're not in control of the past, but you're going to choose to be in control of your now as much as we ever are. And the way that you control that is by choosing where you allow your mind to take you next. So we focus on putting our time and our energy to making a positive step forwards or change in our life. the further we move forwards, you see, the further in the past that experience is, and it has no weight to it anymore. It becomes irrelevant. But unless we start to step forwards, that can't happen because we're too close to it and it's our go-to zone. Yeah, you are no different to, if you are doing that and constantly going back and playing over that old reel-to-reel tape over and over, it's no different to the person that goes to the fridge and eats, to the person that drinks wine to drown it out, just like the food, to the person that even perhaps takes drugs in a way. Yeah, because you're kind of addicted to the processing because we feel in control and powerful in that moment. Truth is, are we bollocks? But we think we are. Can you see that? Click in. So what happens is we use it, see, but what we do is we use past experience replaying as a distraction technique to stop us from stepping forwards in our world. Yeah? We run back to the comfort of what we know when we know we need to bring a change in, when we know there's something we need to take care of, something we need to do that we're putting off or fearful of, or it just represents change and a shift. Does that resonate with any of you? Yeah? Can you see that? Can you feel that? So we forgive for our own sake, don't we? And then we ask, what can I focus my time and energy on instead that will make a positive step forwards, a progression, a change in my life? What is, as I'm always saying in my one-to-one coaching, what is one small step that I can take today and just do that? Get started. I always say it's about the small steps, just one foot in front of the other. That's what moves you forward, not big leaps of putting on a show. One small step in front of each other. But what is the next step that you need to do? So I asked you at the beginning to put something that down that you know you need to let go of, or something that suddenly springs to mind, or a memory or something. What is your body? Because the mind links to the body. What is the body telling you you need to shift? Yeah, drop me a comment if you're happy to share in the comments, in the chat box, I mean. Yeah. What have you identified? And it could be something really small that's playing on your mind, or it could be something, you know, big. And then the next thing is to recognize your payoff. Why are you choosing to go there? Yeah. Why are you choosing to go there? What is the payoff? And what are you avoiding? Yeah, there'll be a payoff, and sometimes the payoff is avoiding something, avoiding what you need to do. Can you see that? Yeah? Let's open up the mics and you can chat to me. Ding, ding, ding. If you want to speak to me, unmute. Yeah. So what are you picking up on? You see, if you let go of something, yeah, I mean, things can come back up. Don't get me wrong. Things can come back up because there's another level of emotion to let go of that experience. And then we just have to do this again until suddenly we don't go there anymore. Yeah. Because if your mind is clinging onto something in the past, then there's something that you are avoiding. Admitting, doing, or being. Can you see that? Can you see that, Sarah Newman? Mm-hmm. Yeah? So you've identified your payoff in that, yeah?
Yeah, and I know from being able to overcome all those things, lots of different things have now come into my life
Yeah.
because those things are now gone and don't affect my here and now, because I won't let them anymore affect
Yeah.
my being.
Yeah. So you've taken back your power.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Which is what we need to do. When we let go,
Yeah.
when we do let go, the payoff is we get our power back.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if we've not let go, then our power is invested in that situation or that person or whatever. Make sense? That makes sense to you, Anne?
It all makes sense to me. My problem is that it's like a merry-go-round. You jump off and think, well, hey, here we go, got everything sorted, settle, let's go. And then something happens and you think,
Yeah.
here we go again, and you're back on that merry-go-round.
And there's something that happens is fear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fear of failure.
Yeah. But you've heard the expression, and a bloke wrote a book about it. You got to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, I get so far and I think I'm doing really well and I'm really happy. And as soon as I start feeling pleased with myself, the little voice comes back and says, are you sure you should be quite so pleased with this?
And you have to say, yes.
Yes, well, I'm doing pretty well at the moment.
Yeah.
So I am
You
pleased.
have to control that, you know, that negative. And
yeah.
That's just the ego, as you know. And you have to literally say, yes, actually, I do. And busy yourself in something to switch the mind off.
Yes, that's one of the best things to do, is just get busy with something else.
Technique. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So what we do is we apply ourselves to the very thing that was a distraction in order to distract us from what we don't need anymore, what we need to let go of. Yeah.
We have to replace that one distraction with a better one.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Because then we're putting ourselves into a positive vibe, a really positive vibe.
Which, as you know, is my great belief. So, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have to let go of worry. We have to let go of fear. None of these emotions sit in the energy of abundance. So if you want the good stuff in life, you have to learn to step in and shut that down. Identify where it's coming from, but shut it down before it takes you over. It's a spiral. It's like we're on a spiral all the time. You know, a bit like one of them wind chimes or thingies. You on about them spiraling wind chimes.
Dizzy already.
Yeah, but that is what we're on. And at any moment you can choose, are you going up the spiral or are we going down the spiral? And we choose with our mindset, and we control our mindset by choosing where we allow our thinking to take us and our feelings. The two are intertwined. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is this making sense? Making sense to you, Karen? You're on mute still, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's the fear thing comes in with me.
Yeah.
I get so far, like the other lady was saying, and then all of a sudden you go back into the fear mode. So it is like retraining yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, to embrace change.
Yeah.
Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. Yeah. So what I always do in coaching is I always say, okay, so what's the cost if you don't?
Stay where you are, I guess.
Yeah. But what will that cost you? Or who will that cost? Who will pay that price?
Yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. In what way? How will you pay that price?
Because you won't be happy.
Yeah. So sometimes we have to go to that darker place in order to give us a powerful why. Yeah. It's, for example, if I thought, oh, I can't be asked to do this no more. So who would pay the cost for that decision? Yes, my clients would, but so would I. Yeah, but who else would pay the cost? Well, my children would. Why? Because I couldn't keep a roof over their head. Yeah. And if you know that if you don't get up out of bed and go to work, not that I ever feel like this, I'm the polar opposite. I need to fucking go to bed, you know what I mean? It's like, as you probably know. But you know, if you're of that mentality, and that's the rocket that we need to put up your ass. Yeah, if that needs to be your why, I always go for the cost. Because, you know, when I did my original training, what they used to say was, right, okay, if I put a gun by your head, Karen,
Yeah.
if I literally pulled out a gun, can you imagine if I pulled out a gun in the middle of such a gun to your head, because you won't do something, I bet your life you'd do it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do I need to load in that gun to get you up off the sofa and doing what you need to do? What is the bullet? What do I need to write on that bullet? Yeah. That's how I was coached.
Yeah.
Yeah. The joy that is Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I was coached.
Right.
And when you hear it like that, you think, yeah. Yeah. So what do we need to put in your gun? Does that make sense to you, Sarah,
Yeah.
without the camera? Yeah, so you need to be looking at, where this would go if you didn't do what you do. Whatever it is that you need to do, whatever that next step is that you are holding back on and resisting, what will be the cost if you don't do it? Yeah, and then dig deeper and dig deeper again. Yeah. And if I was coaching you, I'd want you almost in tears. And then I know we've dug deep enough. I want you in tears. Because it's got to hurt sometimes, the thought to power us up if we've got into that complacent rut. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange because when you're in that awful place, as we all do get into occasionally, you do kind of stop hurting. The crying stops because you're dealing with it in your own way, in your own place. And it's only when somebody points it out or you come to the realization that actually it's just all shit anyway, and you let it go and you cry it out. Not that I like crying it out.
No,
but it is important. I understand it's important.
Yeah.
And when it's done, you can actually feel the difference, the line that's been drawn.
Yeah.
And that's your new foundation.
Yeah. And it's powerful. And that's what I trained in. It's called breakthrough coaching, where my technical language, I'll call it, where we break through your bullshit. But breakthrough coaching is what I use in my challenges, where you have to shock people. Yeah. Because we just plod along in this little story. Yeah. And we feel justified and we're okay with that. And I've got this, it's all okay. I can do this for the rest of my life. And yeah, that's okay. This is nice. I like this. This is okay. Yeah, but you're bored shitless. No, I'm not really bored shitless. It's okay. Yeah. Breakthrough coaching is break the story. Yeah. And that's exactly what you're talking about, is when you have that awakening moment where you click, shit, what am I doing? Yeah. And then you let go. Then you may cry or you may not. Depends on how you held it in your system. And then you forgive yourself for putting yourself through it or whatever, holding on to it or speaking to yourself in your head like that or whatever it is you need to forgive yourself for. Being part of that experience, signing on the dotted line for that crap. Yeah? And then you step forwards into something positive to instantly bring you back up the scale. Can you see that? Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I make it sound easy. Do you know what? Because actually it is. It is. Because you can do it really quickly. It will take, it can take a few hours, it could take a couple of days, but it's relatively easy because you've got this. You are in charge of this process. Yeah? Through the choices that you make. So any questions? Have I covered that enough, do you feel? Do you get it? Do you get the process?
We just need you on a loop, Sam. This is, you've got it. You can do it.
I have had a client say, if I sell my house and just give you the money from the house sale, could I just move in with you? Because it would be easier. Yeah, but this is being recorded, so you can come back. It's deliberate. It'll be. I probably won't get it into the academy tonight because it's quite a process, but it will be in the academy from some point tomorrow. Yeah, for you to, or I may even send you all a YouTube link to it, actually, a private one. But it will be there for you to watch, because sometimes this is one of those that you will probably need to listen to several times. Because this is something to process, that it's you who's holding on, the situation. Yeah, Nigel the knob is not holding on to you. You are holding on to the situation because either you don't want to admit that you got something wrong. And like I say, who cares? No one's looking. You know, I'm always telling my clients, why do you think people are what give a shit about you? No one's watching you. They're so busy, and trust me, if you sit here for a month, my God, you'd realize everyone is so involved in their own shit. Trust me, they don't even notice your shit. And the fabulous thing when you Facebook algorithms is really, really nobody sees your shit. You're just putting it out into the abyss. No fucker sees it. Unless they talk to you in the last few days. Do you know what I mean? It's like, lose that self-importance. Yeah, lose that self-importance. Nobody's watching, honey, so it's great. You can crash and fall and burn, and you could do the whole train wreck if you want to. Trust me, very few people will even notice. Yeah, so that's the ego wanting you to look like the proud lion in the pride. That don't work. That will have you crash. Yeah, you know, look at the payoff. Are you getting attention actually, and support and sympathy and company? And, you know, is it justifying you not taking action? Is it holding you in a safe place, even if it's uncomfortable? Identify the payoff. Once you learn your payoffs, you will really learn about your own nature, the nature of who you are. Yeah. And where things come from. So I'm from the generation whose parents lost everything, 2 businesses, home, everything in a recession. Probably, God, I think I was about 14, so it's probably in the, what that be, in the 80s? Was it in the 80s? We had that big recession, right? So I have to challenge, I've had to do a lot of work to shift that karmic trail and challenge that mindset of watching all of that. Yeah, that you, how fast you lose success, that fear of success that was instilled, right? So I've done a lot of work on that, but don't be fooled. Whenever I go to a new level, I have to go to a new level and I have to level up. That comes in again. not as strongly, but it can creep back in. And I will say to myself, what the fuck is going on, Sam? What are you doing? And I will have a flashback to a scene of me sat in a car at the age of 14. And I know it then. That's almost like my body's language to tell me, oh, it's that old chestnut. Right, let's sort that out then. Boosh. Yeah. And the reason for that is because I had a psychic moment. It's one of my first real awareness of precognition. I had a psychic moment and I saw them losing a new business they'd just bought. And I heard someone say to me, this is a big mistake. And because I was of the seen and not heard age, I didn't dare tell my parents they'd made a mistake. So for a long time, I felt responsible for their crash. Yeah, does that make sense? So often we have strange attachments to old situations, and that's why we have to learn to let go of what comes up. Make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
And I share that to show you how even, you know, with all that I do, it still comes, things can still bite me on the ass. Fuck me, it was an alien in a crop circle on Saturday, bit me on the ass, I tell you. Not literally, but my God, I keep saying never again. Never again. I've been off my head for 3 days. I'm finally back.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been on an interesting journey, but you know, it's like there's always stuff to walk through, always stuff to deal with, and there always will be, because we're here for ascension, we're here for clearing, we're here for cleansing. So know that what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with what is going on. It's just shifting and clearing and clearing and clearing. That's what's going on. Yeah. If you had nothing left to sort out, you'd be dead. Quite frankly, yeah, because we have to shift karmic trails. Pardon?
I said, okay.
But does that make sense? But do you get what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, you've got to keep on suffering, Sam.
big picture
Rubbish.
of ascension. Everyone who is alive in this world is here to clear stuff. Their family karma, their own karma, whatever, whatever, whatever. Yeah? The difference is you guys are all aware of that, so it's easier for you. Yeah? Sarah A is adjusting. Yeah? Because she's white knuckling onto the comfort zone. Here you are. But we always get there in the end. We do always get there in the end. All right. So, have you enjoyed?
Yes.
Have you learned? Have you clicked? Is more what I mean. Have you clicked
Yes.
tonight about your own behaviour? Cool. And I have empowered you. Good. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, just drop me a message or whatever. If something pings in, just drop me a message. And as I say, I will load this up tomorrow. And I hope it has served you well. All right, don't be frightened to watch it again and again, because it is one of those that that's why I do that. Yeah. I mean, I'm showing you how you can have a comfort zone that you didn't even know existed. And that lies in what you're not letting go of. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The replay. The replay. Have fun, lovelies. Enjoy.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.